cried. Maybe he didn't. Maybe I laughed. Maybe I didn't. I don't know.
I did laugh.
Okay.
So, but that's still not an indicator that he died.
Oh, we're good?
We're good. We're live.
All right. Hey, this is Jeremiah. This is Kyle. And this is the Zero Intentions podcast. Thanks for joining us again. So, the first thing I want to start out with, been thinking about this all day today, and I haven't done any looking into it and seeing what's going on. But I want to know.
What we don't know.
Yeah, I want to know what happened to all that talk of the alien drones. They just disappeared. Like no one's talking about it anymore. Just
Which drones?
the little pill ones. You know that were in the Pacific. You know the coast.
Yeah,
over
off of California.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that video's from 2008.
Right, but it was like everybody's talking about it like a few months ago, and then all of a sudden, like, well, we don't know what it is, so.
Yeah, well, what's funny is off screen, all of this is the guy who released that video.
Right.
Everything is about that guy.
Right.
So, yeah, you had that video, the one that's called the Tic Tac,
Mm-hmm.
and then that's off the Nimitz, and then you had another one off the Nimitz, and then you had one on the East Coast called the Go Fast video, and that's when it's the little thing's flying and they're trying to lock it, and then it just takes off.
Right.
So those are the three videos. All that happened, that's probably 4 years ago now, when they went to Congress, and now pilots can speak.
So yeah, I thought that was it. Like they were supposed to release. Like that's why it came up again, was because they're supposed to declassify, all those documents.
So they did. So what happened? Now people can talk about it. That was a few years ago, and then this year, 2021, the big release came out. But of course, they dumped a ton of files. So
Right.
I don't know if anyone's found anything interesting.
There's got to be someone out there looking through it, though.
Oh yeah,
even though it's a
I'm
lot.
Sure. Yes.
There's not people that are curious enough about it to
Yeah, I'm
spend
sure.
the time to look through it.
There's probably a ton of people going through it. I remember earlier this year they came out and said, yeah, we have crafts we found that are not from Earth. That are we definitely didn't make them here for sure. And that made headlines for one day. And now let's get back to Nicki Minaj and Kim Kardashian.
Right.
And that's what's so weird. That's what's mind blowing is we finally get the disclosure from the Pentagon saying, yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
aliens are real.
But that kind of concerns me that the populace is just so.
They don't care.
Yeah, they're like, we spent years and years being gaslit about, stuff like this, saying, oh, no, it's a weather balloon, it's swamp gas, it's nothing.
Yep.
That we're like, I really don't care anymore. Like,
That's the
whether
problem.
it's
They did their
real or
job
not,
so
I don't
good.
care. Yeah.
They did it
So,
so well, they
right.
made people not care anymore.
Mm-hmm. And so that was in the paper recently, that someone was asking, do you believe aliens are real? And, I didn't read all of them, but one person, the only thing they responded with was just, no.
It's
why,
weird.
Why did you even bother writing
They
in?
did
But still.
so well
Yeah.
hiding it and covering it up for all these times because, obviously when they first started Cold War, at first you probably have no idea.
Right.
You have no idea if it's extraterrestrial, if it's the Russians. You had
Yeah.
no idea.
Right.
But then when you have an idea, now you're covering it up because
And
think,
you couldn't admit you didn't know, because then that means that
yeah, then you're not
that-
safe. under the
exactly, like
government.
you don't have sufficient technology to understand what this is.
They've said
so
that,
that's
yes.
that's like a weakness.
The Pentagon has said that.
Yeah.
They're like, there's nothing we can do.
Mm-hmm.
Lou Elizondo, anyway, he was the head of the Pentagon's department for UFOs, or UAPs, as they call them.
Right.
And so he left, and he does talks. He won't share any secrets because he still believes the oath he took. He's not going to declassify stuff until it's released. But he's come out and said, if they were to attack, there's nothing we can do. It's just it.
Oh yeah.
Just,
well, that's just the basic truth of it is that any civilization that has advanced enough technology to reach us when we can't reach them,
yeah, it's over.
is obviously going to be much more capable than we are.
Exactly.
So
that's where they're at. Yeah, people just don't care. It's very strange. They wanted to stop people from freaking out, thinking they're not safe.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they finally release it, no one freaked out.
Right.
And I think even back then, no one would probably freak out. We have things happen all the time.
Not as much as they did, from War of the Worlds, when that radio drama hit and everyone thought it was real. The freak out from that.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, this is why we don't mess with, fooling people.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Even if they attacked, people are just gonna react how it is. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
You can try and fight, or you can give in.
Yeah.
People are gonna do both on both sides. There's
Well,
nothing.
the only hope you have is hoping that they're nice and that they're not here to destroy us.
Some of the
Because
books
if they
I've
are here to
read,
destroy us, then yeah, it's over. Like, well, here's your new planet. Good luck.
Some of the books I've read have said we currently have nothing to fear. Like, as of right now, there's no indication that they'd want to attack us.
Sure.
'Cause they would have already done it. There's nothing stopping them if they can visit us, like you said. So they don't seem like they have ill intentions for us.
Mm-hmm.
But we also don't know if that could change.
Right.
Something could change. We could hit maybe a technology standpoint.
I think the fact that we haven't left the planet yet means, they're not worried.
Maybe
we're a very warring species.
Yeah. So
between ourselves, but we keep it to the planet. Like, we don't take it out of our neighborhood.
But they don't like that.
So
because
sure.
one of the
well, like, that's the thing. Like, they know that, like, we're learning more in progressing in our technology. Eventually, we will leave the planet if we don't change and we continue to be, warring and infighting and blowing each other up. Then that's going to be a problem for them, because they're like, well, if you're going to kill each other, then
yes.
What's going to stop you from from fighting us? So.
Yeah, and I don't know what it was. I can't guess what the aliens think or whatever they are. Whatever this other thing is.
Sure.
Right? I don't know what it is.
Go into all those theories.
I don't know if it's a green man
sure.
or a gray man or.
Yeah.
But one of the biggest UFO things, I forget what they call it in the U.S. Every country has their own, but all nuclear warheads were activated at one time.
Mm-hmm.
That was not done by us.
Right.
And there's multiple sightings of these lights and these orbs and the pills around all these silos, and they're all activated at once, and then turned off when everyone was freaking out. So, like, a clear message that they didn't like the nuclear
Sure.
warheads we're
Yes.
using. And anytime there's been, tests of nuclear warheads, on the weather balloons or whatever we're sending up and blowing up, they're always sightings. Because I think they're interested that we have technology to blow up the entire planet.
Sure. Yeah.
Maybe they are using our planet. They don't want us to blow it up. I don't know.
It could be a similar, scenario as that when in Stargate, when the Asgard say, your technology is so backwards, like, we would never even consider, using explosives.
Guns. Guns.
Like, it just, like, to shoot projectiles. It's like, we could never come up with that, just because
they're too
of
far.
because they're so far advanced.
Why
but
would
that's
they?
so primitive in their mind that they're like,
they don't protect for it.
Yeah, they're like, this is why it works against the replicators, because they're used to all this advanced technology that something so crude they have no defenses against.
Right, and I'll talk about a TV show real quick, and we can get off the aliens, because I'd talk about this.
I know
for days.
We could do the whole podcast on aliens.
Right? Yeah, we do a whole separate podcast.
Yeah, we'll come back to it in future episodes. I'm sure it's going to happen.
Yes. So the show that I'm watching now is a bank heist movie.
Yeah.
And they want to talk without cell phones or anything, so people can't hear them.
Mm-hmm.
So what they use is old radios from, like, World War I, and then they encode them because they know that the British Embassy, they don't have that technology anymore, because they've so far past, they're not even thinking about that.
Right.
And I don't know how it happens, but of course, when they discover they're using that shortwave frequency that's encoded, they go, well, what can we do? And basically all the IT guys are like, no, nothing. I don't know. I don't know. We can see they're doing it, but we can't hear it. We don't have those radios. We don't know what their encoding is. So it even happens in nowadays.
Right.
People don't think about that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because we've moved so far past it.
Sure. That's like that old tech. Like, it's kind of, future proof in a certain regard. Like, people talking about, like, EMPs, wiping out, all technology. Well, not all technology. Some stuff will be insulated from that. So,
but for the most part, we're screwed as a society if we get EMP'd.
Yes, we become so dependent on,
the grid.
Yeah. Yeah.
They said
and we penalize people that try and get off it too. So there's that.
I think 2 nukes would take us all out. They could launch a nuke from each coast.
Yeah, low
high
orbit.
Enough,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
High enough, and then it would EMP everything.
Exactly.
And I don't own a car. trying to think of if I know anyone that owns a car that isn't hooked to a computer or battery that would fry it right away.
Right. Yeah.
If you have a classic
I
car,
mean, as
you'll be
old
all
as
right.
as old as Chris's van is, yeah, it's
Still computer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to
It's
be
going.
pre-97-ish.
Hmm.
Because it's got to be carbureted.
Yeah.
Like the four-wheeler will still run. I mean, it's connected to electronics. So if there's power going to it, it'll fry. But it's still just an engine, just like a lawnmower. You know, you could put a new battery on it.
Sure.
Or it has gears, so you drop it in gear and get it started.
Hmm.
And that's what's weird. Where you talk about, you know, futuristic. We're still on a combustion engine.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing has
Exactly.
changed. I mean, we've made them
Yep.
bigger and more efficient, but
Mm-hmm.
we're just
Yeah.
lighting gasoline and making explosions. That's all we're doing. Nothing's changed. We're on the same
Right.
tech.
Yeah.
And you could argue battery, but we've been doing that forever too.
Right.
So
Yeah. I mean, you know, I've talked to you about this before, but like the whole like battery technology hasn't progressed at the same rate as everything else.
no. Well,
So
they
I
don't
mean,
want
there
it
have been
to.
improvements, sure, but much fewer improvements as compared to like, you know, microchips or, you know, stuff like that. So
I don't know a lot about batteries, but I think it takes a lot of rare natural resources.
right,
And that's a problem
exactly,
because
yes.
it's expensive.
Which is the problem with everyone, you know, pushing, you know, electric vehicles is like we're going to be 100% electric, you know, in the future, and it's like you because it's cleaner. They're like, oh, it's, you know, it's green or whatever,
Yeah.
but it's like the battery is once it's made, before it's made, and
Yes.
after it's made, not green.
Well, after
at
is
all.
very bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not much you can do after except bury
Right.
it.
Yeah.
And then before, you're unearthing huge amounts of
Right.
earth.
Yeah.
And that's finite. We're not running out of fossil fuels. It's
Right.
not going to, I don't care who's pushing that agenda. It's not happening. We're
Right.
not going to run out of it. I'm pretty sure everyone knows by now
Right.
we won't run out. But to make batteries, we will.
Well, I mean, they have to push that narrative to increase fuel prices. So, you know, that we're
That's
going to
one
run
of those
out.
things that just
You
keeps
have
going
to-
up.
Yeah, you have to, you know, project scarcity.
But
So,
they don't care. They don't care. I mean, we all need gas now. They
mhm.
could come out tomorrow and be like, it's $7. People would be like, why? They'd be like, that's how much we want to charge.
Yeah.
And there's
And
nothing
people would
anyone
still
could
pay
do.
it.
Yeah.
They have to. Like they're like, especially in the U.S. where, you know, everything is so spread out as opposed to, you know, other places like Europe and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, they
Like,
do it for cigarettes.
So-
I mean, they just raise the price all the time, and
Right.
they're like, "Why? That nothing's going up." They're like, "I don't know. We just
We have fewer customers, so
Yeah,
we
you
gotta
could say
charge
whatever you
more.
want.
Yeah,
I
we
mean-
still got to make the same amount of money. So
even if they're the same
You know?
customers, they could raise it. People are going to do
Yeah.
it. The
Mhm.
iPhone's been getting less and less progressive and more expensive,
yeah, hmm
and people are still buying it.
Right.
Because why? They just once you find out that you can charge that, they're gonna.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's everything. I look around this room. Everything in here probably costs more now than
Oh,
it
yeah.
did then for
Right.
no reason.
Yep, and it's not as well made either. That's
That
There's
is
another
another problem.
frustration. It's like I was talking with, you know, someone about their washer or dryer or something like that broke.
Oh yeah, and those go
or a
out so
dishwasher
often
or something
now.
like that. And I'm like, well, yeah, they're disposable now. You know, you buy them and they're only supposed to last, you know, max 5 years. You know, so
Yeah.
you should plan on buying, you know, entirely new appliances every 5 years. So 10's pushing it, but you're lucky if it's going to last 10.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't want to get too loud. I don't know if our new title updated. I don't know if people know this or even think about it, but when I worked for a company test driving cars, your whole job is to put miles on the car, a certain amount of miles,
Right?
and that specific
yeah.
amount of miles
Yeah.
is the warranty amount.
Hmm.
That's the exact amount of miles they
Yeah.
put on hundreds of the exact same car
Hmm.
because they want to know what's going to break within your
Right.
warranty.
Hmm.
So that warranty they're giving you, they know what's going to break or have a very good idea of
Oh,
what's
yeah.
going to break
Yeah.
because they're driving. I did it, you know, almost every day, driving the same cars, the same amount. I mean, obviously not all in one day, because you
Right.
wouldn't, but
Yeah.
up to that same amount. And we did it. I mean, other stuff. They want to know what you like about it or don't like. I wish the one car I drove, it had a weird glare between 15 and 25 miles an hour, just because the curved glass on the dash.
Hmm.
I wish they would have changed that. That was my biggest complaint. I wrote it down every time I was in one of those cars. I was
Hmm.
like, it's not horrible because you're not really looking at your speedometer while you're driving. I'm like, how could they not think about this?
Right.
The glare anytime light's coming in.
Hmm.
But yeah, I never had a car that had a serious problem because most cars are built enough to last you 3 years. So But after that, you might start falling apart
Right.
real fast.
Well, I mean, that's why I was leasing for so long, is for that very reason. It's like, I don't want to have to deal with, things breaking. Like, I can handle, like, regular maintenance.
Yeah, not big things.
But, yeah, like, oh, you need a new transmission. It's like, I'm not dealing with that. It's like,
that's why I don't buy a new car.
Yeah.
I mean, my car, 08 now, 230,000 miles. It has a problem. It's still frustrating. I still have a warranty. I can get it fixed, but it's frustrating. I would be way more frustrated if I'm buying a brand new car, spending a ton a month because that car's paid off. If I'm paying on a new car and then a big problem like that happens, like I'm driving that and it starts making a knocking noise, I'm like, okay, something's wrong, get it fixed. When you're in your new car, it starts making a noise. Now you're immediately mad. You're like, why does my brand new car
exactly
have a problem already?
Yeah.
I don't even want to open myself to that frustration. Drive an old car,
there's something to be
happen.
said about equity, but it's leasing. You have a problem like that, you take it to the dealership and it's their problem. Like they fix it. So.
Leasing, I hate leasing for one, unless you fall into certain categories. One, you're old and you don't really need a car and you like having the new stuff, right? You're an older person, retired. There's no reason for you to buy a car. You might as well just lease. You keep getting the new best thing. Or two, you don't drive a lot of miles.
Yeah.
If you don't drive a lot of miles, it's
Sure.
not worth it, because if you buy new,
which is why I'm not leasing now.
because you were intending to drive more
exactly.
miles.
I didn't know when we were going back to the office, and
Yeah.
once we did, it's too far for a lease. So
And that makes sense.
yeah.
So other than that, like these people, I see younger people, they're like, I can't afford to buy a new car, so I'll just lease.
Mhm.
Now you're throwing a lot of money away, and you're going to have to do it again, shortly.
Yeah.
Or you're going
Oh,
over
I
your
definitely
miles all the
didn't
time.
when I first started driving. No, you have to go through those years of driving a beater, to appreciate.
I didn't. I
So-
didn't. I never drove a beater. I got very lucky, yes.
Oh man, you missed out. It's fun.
I did not drive a beater. I beat on the car. I had a
Oh, yeah?
four-wheel drive Trailblazer
Huh,
in
huh.
02, and it was loaded for an 02.
Yeah.
I mean, it had leather seats. It had a sweet voice recorder in it, so you could record your directions.
all
so
right.
So you knew where you could get in there and see your MapQuest direction play. Loaded. Had a tape
Huh.
player.
Huh.
Yeah, I beat on that thing. I used to drive that through snow drifting, dirt road drifting, a little bit of off-roading, and the one time I really wrecked it, and I didn't know it was wrecked, but it was. I was going from one parking lot of a school to the big parking lot to drift.
Mm-hmm.
That was my intention.
Mhm.
I will not lie about that. I was going to do bad things. And as I leave the little parking lot, you go around a little corner, and then you just turn into the parking lot.
Uh-huh.
Doing maybe 5 or 6. I mean, it's all covered in snow, and it was snowing while we were in the school. And I'm going to turn, and I just turn the wheel, and I don't turn. I just keep sliding, and I just hit the curb and kind of bump up onto the curb. And I was like, man. So throw it in reverse, and I'm not going anywhere. I'm like, I'm seriously stuck. And I have a 4-wheel drive. I'm stuck just going up a little curb, and it's a sidewalk, so it's not like I'm in grass or off the road. And so the guy in the passenger seat, he hops out and goes, dude, your tire's not even on the wheel. I was like, what?
Oh no.
And so I hop out. It had cracked the whole wheel in half
Oh man.
at 5
Wow.
miles an hour. But I mean, I would have been smart if I
You
turned the
must
wheel
have
straight.
hit it just right.
I should have turned it straight and just gone up
Yeah.
on the curb and would have been fine, because
Yeah.
it was 3-inch curb. It would have been fine.
Sure.
And so after that, all got taken care of. I didn't have any problems with it. I got new tires, had it aligned. But when we were going to sell it, we're looking at everything, making sure it's all right. And I realized you can fit about 4 or 5 fingers in the tire I hit to the front of the fender. And on the other side, you can only fit like 1 or 2. So I had pushed the entire axle off, but didn't even know.
Wow.
I had driven it for like a year after that. But
Huh.
the
You
least
didn't
amount
even
of...
notice like weird wear patterns on the tire?
No.
None of the, yeah, wow.
Because
Huh.
it was aligned properly, but the axles weren't. So
Okay. Huh.
it was probably getting axle wear. But
Ah.
I would have had no idea.
Hmm.
So yeah, my least...
And they didn't tell you when they put the new tire on?
No,
They didn't notice it?
No, because now that I think about it, I might have just bought a new wheel and got a new tire put on it,
Okay.
and then just mounted it and then had it aligned. So the
Okay.
people that just aligned it weren't even paying attention. Like
Sure.
they didn't know they were putting a new tire on it.
Hmm.
Because I didn't have it towed. I put the spare on it. It had a spare hanging under it. So I put the spare on it, drove it home, and just got a new wheel for it and put the old tire right back on it.
Hmm.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it. Because you wouldn't. 5 miles an hour, you wouldn't think any huge damage could happen.
Right.
To this day, my parents do not believe my story.
Huh.
I have no reason to lie about
I
it.
know, like, I've hit things at higher speeds, and it's like just a little soft little bump, and then you're just going slow, and it just, for some reason, it just hits really hard.
Yeah.
And you're like, what in the world? I did not, like, how did that happen? But
Yeah, because I did stupid stuff and they
Yep.
knew it, and they always said I was gonna wreck the car
yeah,
or get a ticket. And then the one time I call them and tell them about it, they're like, "What were you doing?" I'm like, I was, and I told them
wasn't doing anything
I
yet.
told them the same day. That's what I said. I was like, nothing yet. I was like, I'm not gonna lie to you and say I wasn't going to. That was absolutely my intention, but I didn't get to. That's what frustrated me the most. I didn't even get to do it in a fun way. It
Right.
wasn't like I was doing something stupid and having fun and then did
Yeah.
it, and then I couldn't feel bad. You're doing
Right.
something stupid, you break it.
That reminds me of when Eddie Griffin, had his crash. Remember that?
No.
So he's driving. Oh God, what was it? It's some really nice car. I can't remember what it was, but anyway, it's I think it's like some kind of Corvette, but or something like that, but like really rare, and he just wrecked it, and people were so mad at him.
For wrecking it?
Yeah, and it's like, I had an accident. It's like,
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, so it's like, I mean, it's sad that I was in that car when I had my accident, but
Yes.
it happens. So
I'm looking up. There was a celebrity, and I don't want to get the facts wrong. Someone built. Oh, it was Kevin Hart. He had a Plymouth Barracuda, old school Barracuda, and they put in, I believe, a Hellcat. I'm reading right now. I think someone resto modded it and put a Hellcat in it. Yes, a Hellcat in it, and he had it for, I wonder if this says, not very long. Like, he picked it up in a few days, had like completely wrecked it. And let's see, this is in 2019. Yeah, he lost control and flipped it into a goalie.
ooh,
And
oh man,
everyone was really hurt, and people were really mad that he crashed it. And it's like, well, one, you have a guy, Kevin Hart. He's not known for cars, so
right, sure,
he's not used to driving it. Then
Yeah.
you have a 70s car, all steel.
mm-hmm,
There's almost no safety in the crashing. He kept the interior original, so basically just lap buckets. I don't even know if it had an airbag.
wow,
And this car's long and heavy, and then you put 700 horsepower in it
yeah,
with nothing. There's not. Of course, you're gonna wreck it.
exactly. It's not
Anyone-
a matter of if, it's when.
Yes.
yeah.
No. If
mhm,
unless you're a professional driver,
Yeah.
there's no way you're not gonna crash
exactly,
a car like that.
right,
It's not made for that. I mean, it's cool and it'd be fun for a drag strip, but when you're
Mhm.
out driving roads, 700 horsepower breaks the tires loose. Your car weighs 4,000 pounds.
Yeah.
That's it.
that there's a reason why those older cars don't have a lot of horsepower. Not a lot of
Yes.
torque, but not a lot of horsepower. So
Yeah.
yeah, and
Well,
that's
they-
why,
and they
that's why
couldn't
right
stop
there.
it, yeah.
yeah.
At least
So,
he had probably updated brakes, but yeah, those old
Yep.
cars, man.
Yeah.
It's scary because I've talked to your dad, with his old Camaro. I'm like, you guys were nuts. The way you drove those things. I'm like, I've only driven one
Uh-huh.
with drum brakes,
Yeah.
and it took me like a quarter mile to stop. And you guys were out here just ripping around like it was.
We didn't know any better.
Yeah.
It's like driving without power steering. Like I don't,
Oh yeah.
like, you've never done that. And
Yes,
It's like
yes.
what is going on? Why
I
can't I
have.
turn this thing?
It's all right when
yeah.
you're moving, but
Right.
my Trans Am had problems with the power steering. So
Mhm.
at speeds you're good, but trying to park with low RPM, it was like muscling it.
Yeah.
So I looked
Yeah.
like the biggest douchebag in parking lots. Like I'm at Walmart, the car's long. I'm trying to park it, and what I have to do is hold the clutch and go vroom, vroom, and like rev it up to like turn properly. And everyone thinks I'm just trying to show off. I'm like, I'm just trying to park my car, man.
Right.
I can't turn the wheel unless my RPMs are spinning high enough.
Right.
So,
Hmm.
yes. And I drove an older Trans Am from a buddy's dad in high school with no power steering, and they
Hmm.
had to warn me. He was like, "Look, there's no power steering." And I was
Right.
like, what does that mean?
Exactly.
I was
it's like
like,
you don't know what that means
it
until
meant,
you
it meant
get
nothing
behind
to
the
me.
wheel. Yeah.
And then
Right.
then I'm driving. I'm like probably 16 or 17. I can't believe he let me drive it.
Right.
But yeah, it was. I mean, it's fine once you're going. It's just you're not making quick adjustments.
Right.
Fast forward to the Hellcat now. It's drive by wire, and so you can adjust while you're driving how tight and loose you want your steering. It's nuts. So you can go like tightness 10. And your steering wheel's barely gonna move because it's for a drag strip, or you can go loose 10. And you're like, no, nothing's happening. It's crazy, crazy what cars have come to.
Right. Yeah, I've mentioned this to you before too. Is like I've always wanted to do a power, driving, course, something like that. So, just because I haven't had the opportunity to. Like I never really got to open up my Camaro.
You could
at all,
take your
so.
Elantra. You would be there's where is it at? It's just north of the city we went to college in. Me and Joy. I don't remember what it is, but they set up an auto cross. So they go in the middle of a oval track and they just set up cones. And so I mean you're not getting top speeds. It's more of a technical course. You're flooring it, then you're doing a turn, maybe another floor,
Right.
like a figure eight, and come back. And I did it with the Charger. I mean anyone could go. It was free, maybe $20, but I think it was free.
Huh.
And the rules are like you can't have anything rolling free in your car, so you gotta like take basically everything out.
Yeah.
I just ripped my whole back seat out. I was like, whatever. But my car is so big and heavy. I had fun.
Yeah.
I came in dead last because everyone had small cars like a Miata or a Focus or. But yeah, it was fun. I mean, it's cool to have.
So is it timed or?
Yeah, they time it.
Okay.
Yeah, lap time, and I think I did three goes.
Okay.
But it's pretty cool. I know a bunch of guys that still do it. Not there. I think they go out to Waterford Hills race course. But it seems fun. And the small cars like that beat higher horsepower.
Right.
Because it's not made. Even the big tracks out here, you're not getting wide open straights. So it's more, you'll catch up to the big horsepower is going to catch you in the straight. But as soon as you start getting back into turns, it's just, you can't beat a small car with steering.
Yeah.
And mild power.
Right.
However, big horsepower is awesome.
You
can't.
Exactly.
You can't beat
No denying
Most
that.
of us
Sure.
are not going to race courses.
Right.
So to be able to punch it while you're getting on the freeway or at the red light,
Yeah.
that's what I care about.
Right.
I like the loud. I like feeling it.
Yeah.
The Tesla is the fastest quarter-mile car now. It was, and then the Hellcat and the Demon beat it, and now it is again. They have a Plaid model.
Right.
Have you heard about it?
Yeah. So it's based off of the mode. Yeah. Based off of
exactly.
Spaceballs.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, because they used to have Ludicrous and then Ludicrous Plus.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, it's all the same car.
It's that. It's based off of those speeds when they're traveling with their warp speed or whatever, and then they go to ludicrous speed, and they're like, then they go when they do that they go too fast and they go to plaid. So yeah, like
anyway.
the whole space turns plaid because they're going too fast.
I've never seen the movie.
So
yes, that is now the fastest. But Car and Driver or Road and Track, someone took a Hellcat, which at the time was the fastest, and the Model S with ludicrous mode. And they did road driving, canyon driving, and drag strip. And I think the Tesla beat all of them. It won in each, go around. Although the Tesla for the drag strip can't go as long because you can only have so many launches in ludicrous. You can't do it all day and just fill up gas because you can't do that. But every single person that did the test said they'd rather have the Hellcat. Because no matter how fast it is, it's not a driving experience. It doesn't feel like it wants to kill you.
Yep.
You're not getting the loud, the tires spinning. It's just, they said, yeah, you could be in traffic and you could zip past someone really fast. They don't even know you're there and you have instant torque. He said, but there's something different about when you drop a gear and the tires squeal and that engine roars.
That's what you're looking
and
for,
you blow
that
by
experience.
someone.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, it came down, if you're in, never mind today's prices, but 3 years ago on the used car market, if you're around 40 grand, which isn't a whole lot if you're looking for a sports car,
right,
you have a used ZL1 Camaro, a used Hellcat, or a used Model S. And the Model S will beat, this is before Tesla said if you buy Ludicrous used, they'll take it away from you.
Right, yeah.
So back when you could have Ludicrous, it would win in the drag strip, close to a Hellcat depending on if you have drag slicks on it, and then the ZL1 loses, and then around technical course ZL1 wins, and then on open road the Hellcat's gonna beat everyone because you're not gonna go into ludicrous mode in time.
Right.
Still, I think I would take the ZL1.
Yeah.
It looks stylish.
Yeah, I like that.
It has better cornering, and it's slightly slower than the Hellcat. But man, for 40 grand, that's your best bet is the ZL1.
Right.
I don't know what they cost now, but
yeah. So when I bought my Camaro,
oh, sorry, folks, we lost you for
weird.
a second. Yeah, I don't know.
Everything went dark. Huh.
I don't actually know if that was on here or just on our stream.
Okay.
It could have just been a connection on the PS5.
Maybe. Anyway, so when I bought my Camaro, it was 2010, and think it was 35 for that. So
Yeah, that's not bad
But-
for new.
yeah,
Yeah.
yep. So, yep. I mean, it man, I don't remember how many miles was on it, but basically the guy that owned it, he owned Corvette and that Camaro, and he wanted to trade in both to get a new Corvette.
Oh,
And
that's so
he
lame.
never drove it. Like there was no miles on it. So I'm
Mhm.
like, man, I cannot pass up this deal. Color I wanted, everything, So it's a 2SS. So yeah,
It's a sad deal. I hate when people give up both cars to go to one newer car.
right. Well, I mean, based on the miles he put on the Camaro, it's like it would make sense. I don't drive that other car at all.
Oh,
So-
I guess.
Yeah.
I guess so. I mean, the Camaro is not well. So I was always sticking with Hellcat because Dodge had their bumper to bumper warranty that I have.
Mm-hmm.
Someone told me it went away. A dealer told me it went away. I called them up. They said it was still there. You could still get it. But now I think it is away. So taking away warranties, Camaro's the way to go.
Yeah.
The Challenger looks the best out of everyone. I mean, it looks old school. It's classic. It looks awesome. I hate what they did to the new Mustang. I really hate what they did to the new Camaro.
Yeah.
But the ZL1 kept the same styling as close to yours.
Mm-hmm.
It's close to the 010. It has, newer headlights. But
Yeah. See, that's what that 2010 that was the year when they kind of harkened back to old style Camaros. So that's what I really liked. So
yeah.
wasn't this the year prior? I'm like, I would never have bought a 2009. So
2000. Trying to think. I thought those were the same. 09 and 10 are different?
I think so. I think 10 was when they switched the body style. Could be wrong, but I think that's when it
There's
was.
a 2009. That's what I thought yours was. That body style. Let's look at a 2010.
Yeah.
I guess. Are they different?
Maybe not. I mean,
Slightly. The headlights are definitely different.
right. I don't remember when the. I'm not even looking at the right year.
I
here.
will say though, the Camaro
So-
hasn't changed the body at all ever. They're just changing the front and rear bumper. That's
Yeah.
it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've been where they're putting them together. That's it. The chassis is the same. It looks like 2012 is when the ZL1 came out, and that's the slightly different body. 13. We're all the way up to 13. We're exactly the same. 14. I should know this too. 15. The ZL1 just kept the classic styling like yours is, which I like it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
17. Okay, 17. 17's my favorite.
Yeah.
Is when they started that red body style. That's what
Oh,
the
okay.
ZL1s look like now.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
similar to yours,
Yes.
just different headlight.
Right.
It's
Mhm.
super similar. I really like that body style. But then you get into the 6th generation Camaro, which is this,
Mm-hmm.
which is hideous to me.
Yeah. Yes.
They made it all rounded in the front.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then I think they were like, okay, no one liked that, so then they switched it up again. And that's what they came up with, which is equally as bad.
Mm-hmm.
So, not a fan.
Right.
They really muted it. They muted the meanness of the car.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's really what I was going for.
Yeah, you want the
because I was looking, when I was looking at the Camaro, it was always at the top of my list. But
Mhm.
you consider a Mustang, you consider like either I think my buddy had a Challenger, but I think he had a Charger and he wanted the Challenger, so I had basically three in mind. I'm gonna look at three different cars here, but I always knew from the start, like I'm gonna get a Camaro, but I should at least look at the other two. So
Right. I didn't even look. I
Yeah.
looked straight for Challenger just for the warranty. The thing, like you're saying, like this looks mean in person. It's very big.
mm-hmm.
It's kind of like mine, but that's meaner. It's SRT.
Mm-hmm.
So it's big, wide. It's in your face. And then when they came out with, the newer ones, it's just like it looks like a normal sedan driving.
Yeah, exactly.
Looking at the front of that, it looks
Yeah.
like a sedan. Where the other one
I
looked like
mean,
it wanted to eat
There's
you.
a reason cars look like that, for aerodynamics and all that kind of stuff. But I don't care. Like, give me a little drag,
People
but make me look cool.
People
So,
say
yeah.
that, but you got the Hellcat Challenger, which was breaking records, is a giant brick. It's just a
Right.
square.
Yeah.
There's zero aerodynamics. Actually,
Yeah.
there's less aerodynamics. They put huge scoops on it
Well,
to suck in air.
you push hard enough, and
Yeah.
air just gets out of the way. I mean, come on.
I was listening to Adam Savage, and I guess I think it's 30. It might be more than 30%. 30% of the minimum is what aerodynamics has to do with your gas mileage, mile per gallon. Like your air resistance is like the biggest factor out of everything.
Wow.
And it might be higher. And I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like if we were all just driving around Pinewood Derby cars, we'd have great MPGs.
Exactly. I know. We should start selling front end kits. Then.
So they did. I didn't watch this MythBusters. They did the golf ball thing. They took a car and they put a bunch of dimples all over it.
Right.
And it does improve your gas mileage. And there are people that sell vinyl wraps that do the same.
I've seen those. Yeah.
Do the same thing.
Right. Looks super ugly, but you
Yeah.
know, hey, if
you
that's
go.
what's important to them, then
I would love to have Pinewood Derby cars driving around. I mean, but just imagine rear ending. You just go like right under the guy, like,
to launch them. Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
they're gone, out of my way.
Right.
It's like that. Was it Bruce Almighty? He's like all these horses and no room to gallop, and he separates the road.
Oh, right. Yes.
So he could drive
Yep.
his McLaren. See, like if I got godlike powers, I'd be doing stupid stuff like that for a solid
Right.
year.
Yeah, exactly.
It would be a long
It's
time
like,
before
wow,
I got serious.
there are no other drivers in the entire planet. This is great.
Every time it comes to me when I think like, what if time stood still? I'm like, I'm gonna go find a car and drive it fast. Even watching the beginning of Walking Dead,
Yeah.
like all these open roads, you're like, I mean, I know the world's over, but it just take a few
I
minutes.
don't know where you'd have to go, like if time stopped, like where you'd have to go where you get enough like open road where there's nobody driving.
I would drive.
Depends on what time.
I would just
time-
drive car to
time
car and
stop.
move them off to the side of the road.
Well, I
then-
suppose.
and then
yeah,
come
you
back.
got enough. You got enough time to do that.
Yeah, you time stops, so I'm moving everything. That's what I'm doing.
Right.
And I'm not even taking my car. I'm gonna walk out to the main road down the street here and hop
Sure.
in the
Just
first
take
car.
take your pick. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
first car, and then I'll
Yeah.
drive to a dealership or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not flying a plane. I talk to friends all the time. They're like, "Oh, try. I could fly a plane anywhere." I'm like, "You don't know how to fly a plane."
Can't be that hard. I mean, come on.
Imagine crashing a plane while time is frozen. It's just over.
Right.
There's no one coming to help you.
No, of course not. Yeah, any type of injury, you're kind of screwed unless you know how to do basic,
And then imagine you're in a weird situation where like you're trying to steal something or you're doing stupid stuff in a store and you hurt yourself and you're like, I have to unfreeze time,
right,
and just
yeah.
immediately to someone.
You need a doctor. Yep, that's it. That's the end of your fun.
Now
right
you're
there.
laying in like a suit with like a Viking hat on in the middle of a mall and you're in a kayak and they're like, what is this? And your arm's broken. They're like, where did this guy come from? How did you do
Right.
this?
Doesn't matter. Just call a doctor. Call the ambulance.
I need a doctor here. As soon as they help you, you freeze it. You're like, now how do I get out of this one?
Right.
How do I fix what I just did?
Right. You can always just go around to all the news stations and put the press release. I mean, like something about like a viral hoax.
Oh, do it yourself?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean
Yep.
like when the Pentagon got hit by an airplane and they took every camera within 10-mile radius within 5 minutes, like
well,
that?
Hey.
And then they told you what it was. that
Sure.
hit?
Hey, if you control the media,
Yeah, exactly.
You can tell whatever story you want. Yep.
Yeah. That's exactly what happened. I'm not saying the Twin Towers, but the Pentagon one's weird. all
It
right?
is.
We all saw the Twin Towers.
It
That's
is.
fine. I accept
Sure.
that.
Yeah.
The Pentagon one's weird.
Yeah. I know a lot of people they go real deep in the conspiracy with that, and I'm not denying that, there may have been, more involved to it than we know. There definitely was.
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
because they're not going to tell you everything as far as
Well, that's what
but-
creates conspiracies.
But the whole their whole conspiracy hinged on the fact that that they claim jet fuel can't melt steel beams.
I love that one. I love.
It's like it doesn't have to.
Yeah, it just has
It's
to
like
heat
if
it up
you
to
know
bend.
anything about metal and how these beams are actually made and what how they treat them and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, exactly. All you have to do is heat it to the point of where it loses structural integrity.
Yeah,
that's it. So it
I
doesn't
mean,
have to melt.
You like blacksmithing. I mean, that's it. I
Mhm.
mean, you're not melting a metal
No.
knife. You're just
Yes.
heating it and bending it.
Exactly.
That's it.
Yep.
But the Pentagon one's weird.
It is.
The
Yeah.
towers I accept. We all watch planes hit it.
Right?
We all know that happened.
Yeah.
You watch the video of the Pentagon, something comes flying into frame, drops down, and hits it, and that's very weird.
Sure.
Also, there's no debris of an airplane,
Right?
which is weird.
Yep.
And the fact they knew it was coming.
and the mysterious loss of what, $2.9 trillion or something
Oh, yeah,
like
yeah.
that? Yeah.
And it hit the financial department
Yeah.
of the Pentagon.
Convenient.
It's very convenient.
It's Ron Funches has a great bit where he's like, you know, he said, I don't understand, you know, I don't get people that don't believe in conspiracy theories. Like, I get you don't believe in all conspiracies, but you don't believe in any conspiracy theories?
It's like its own conspiracy.
Right. Yeah.
So
It's like,
let's talk for a second. If we just accept, so I think it's a missile or an airstrike that hit the Pentagon. I think we did it ourselves because we saw an out. You know, I mean, the plane
Sure.
was gone, so
Opportunity,
they're like, let's do it.
Right.
No one's really gonna. I don't think there was that many injuries at the Pentagon, so they're like, let's just hit it, and that takes care of one problem. What do we think happened to the plane?
right.
If
I mean, here's the thing. They don't even have to get rid of it. Like, no one's going to go looking for it. All you do, and if they do, just, you know, you just change the registration on the plane. And
well, but
and-
there's people on the plane. I think it probably crashed somewhere. Crashed. Everyone died, sadly, like all the other planes that crashed. But instead of saying, because what's the difference to the victims' families or society if you say it hit the Pentagon versus it crashed in a field?
Sure.
There's no difference to them.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to find anything. The plane crashed. It's over. So as the government, they're probably like, we have an opportunity. Plane has crashed. There's nothing we can do for those people. We can use this. They didn't hit the Pentagon. We'll hit the Pentagon ourselves. And then whatever their agenda is how I think it happened. Whether it's for the financial records or just to say they hit 2 targets instead of 1.
Right.
Because at that point, it doesn't really matter. And I wouldn't be upset at them for lying about it.
Oh, we all know that the government lies. There's no question of that.
What?
So.
What? They lie about
Yeah.
what, Jeremiah?
About having your best interest in mind.
Yeah. Well, the problem is the government is not the government.
Mm-hmm.
There's the Air Force, the NSA, the FBI, the CIA,
Mm-hmm.
the Pentagon,
Yeah.
the Army, the Navy. There's
Right.
no the government. So yes, they're all lying, including to each other.
Oh, yeah.
Including to each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah.
They work the same cases, and they don't want to give up their information because their department wants to solve it.
Right.
Even within departments, people probably lie
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
because you want to solve it,
Mm-hmm.
not the other person.
Yeah.
I mean, shit, at your office job, they're probably lying. You're like, hey, can you help me fix this problem? Like, oh, I don't know how that problem happens. Then you get a manager in the meeting, and they're like, hey, I think this would fix it. Now they look good to the manager instead of the other guy.
Sure.
I mean,
yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
it's pride, I guess.
Yeah. Well, that's what I meant by, like, you know, we're going to have, like, this whole idea of, you know, a utopia it's beyond our reach currently. Like, the very nature of man would have to change.
Oh, there's no
So-
utopia.
Yeah.
There never will be, and there never has
Mhm.
been. It can't.
Right.
I mean,
But I mean, everyone, like, you know, all of the, you know, young people, like, pushing communism.
well,
as
that's what I was
if
gonna
it
say. I
like,
mean,
you know, this is the solution.
yeah, right here.
Like,
This
capitalism is evil.
this is
Yep.
communism. This
Mhm.
looks perfect. It works perfectly.
Sure.
You plug it in. In theory, it's not. I mean, like
Yeah.
in theory, it's perfect.
Oh yeah.
Communism works fantastic.
Exactly. Theoretical communism
Is great.
sounds amazing. It's
Yeah,
like,
and it would
yes,
be.
it should work like that. It can't.
Well, no, anything
it
with a
absolutely
dictator.
cannot.
A dictator
Yep.
sounds great. I mean,
Right.
fantastic. One guy worries about all the problems. The problem is he can't.
Right.
No one. I don't know anyone. I mean, even when I was a goody two shoes in school, I would still be. You'd be corrupt immediately.
Oh yeah.
Unlimited power would be hard not to.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Even celebrities that are followed by
Yeah.
yes men, you
Yeah.
can't
I mean, I
lose
was,
track.
you know, my siblings were always mad at me because they viewed me as, you know, the good kid.
One of your
but-
siblings might be watching. Just
Yes. Well, she admits to that too.
oh, okay, there we go.
It wasn't true, but you know, the way that I did things, and I've confessed this. This is no secret, but I was more manipulative in the sense that, like, I understood the steps that needed to be taken to get my way. So, without revealing
There you go.
that I'm taking those steps.
What are your steps in this
So,
podcast, Jeremiah?
I don't do this anymore. I
Oh.
want to put that out there. Like,
Okay.
I gave it up, but
You gave it up completely?
for the most part, sure.
What about when you're playing Clue?
you're?
Come on now.
But it is funny because I noticed that like since giving it up, like I'm not as good at lying, playing games that require you to, hide information. It's like I used to be able to do that, really well.
See, you have this big brain energy. See, I just empty it all. That's how you play those games.
We were
and lie.
playing
Empty it completely, and then no one knows what you're thinking.
what was that? What was that game called? I don't know, One Night Werewolf or something like that. Werewolf, and basically it's like Mafia. So
Oh, okay.
everyone closes their eyes. You tell people, you open your eyes and you do that kind of stuff.
This
It's
is
the
an in-person
same
game.
thing. Yes.
Okay. That game's so fun though.
Yeah, it is. But and you try and deduce like who everyone is and accuse who's the werewolf, who's helping the werewolf, all this kind of stuff. But I can feel the fact that I am not lying sufficiently. The only thing that gets me through stuff like that is when I'm playing with people that can't tell, like don't know me well enough, or can't tell what my tells are to know that I'm lying. I know that I'm like, I feel it, like I'm like, this lie is not good, but
they might not.
Right.
I've always wanted at one of your family events to play poker with your brother.
Yeah.
I just wanted to.
He's very skilled. Like he is very good at it.
But I'm sure he doesn't want to play with people like us because it's no fun.
It's frustrating.
It's
annoying.
very frustrating. But
yeah, first time I ever played poker, we're playing nickel and dime, and I won $16. So
that was it.
Yeah, that was it. But still,
I play poker very well among my friends and people of my age because I really like the game of poker. Of manipulating and doing things like that. But as soon as it's out of that, like if I play against anyone who actually plays and is semi-frequent, just get crushed. But most people don't know how to play. They're just looking at their cards and they're bluffing. And it's very easy to beat them.
They're playing against their hand. They're not playing against their opponents.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, so I'm at like step 1 and your brother's at like step 20.
Yeah.
He would know immediately if I was lying. He probably knows.
Right. Oh, yeah. He knows what's in your hand.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or a very good idea of what's in your hand. Because if you play enough hours, you're going to know betting patterns.
Right.
You're going to be like, oh, a jack, a heart, and a jack came up. And you're going to know, like, if someone bets higher. I mean, it's probably more in depth for him. But, like, I know if there's a pair already out there and someone starts betting big, maybe they have a third, so it's a 3 of a kind now.
Sure.
It's easy to tell that.
Yeah.
But someone who plays all the time probably has every pickup on everything.
Yeah.
There was a documentary, maybe show, I don't know. It was guys that when online betting first started happening, they flew out of the U.S. because he couldn't gamble in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
and they do online poker. Like they rent a mansion, like 6 guys, and that's all they would do the whole time they're there. They're just playing online poker, all sitting around together and everything. And this one guy had a match where he knew this guy's tell. Like every time, like this guy bet a certain way whenever he was bluffing, and this guy would just exploit it and take his money. And he was literally just racking in thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And he knew how to antagonize the guy.
That was my college roommate
to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
So like he wouldn't bankrupt him,
right?
Because he knew the guy would always re-up and keep trying.
Yeah.
And so he's just taking money. And I remember him telling the other guys, he's like, it's too easy. He's like, it feels like stealing.
Sure.
Because I know for a fact what this guy's doing, and I'm just taking his money.
I wanted to quit early because I'm like I'm taking I had everyone's money, and so they're like, no, you have to keep playing to give us the opportunity to win our money back. And I'm like, you're not going to.
Not gonna get
like,
it back.
I'm tired. It's like I want to go to bed, and I have all your money, so.
Whenever we play with friends, it's almost like we do it like tournament style. So everyone throws in $10 or whatever. You get a set amount of chips. And we usually do a first, second, and third just because it's easier than someone ending up with all the money. Because if not, you end. I mean, it could go on forever.
Yeah.
And that's my problem when we're all basically, no one's playing a lot of money. I'll be good for like an hour or two, but that third hour, I just stop caring.
Right.
I'm like, I just want this to be over.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna start being really risky.
Yeah.
To try and get other
That's
people
how
out,
I play,
even if I go out.
Red Dead Redemption 2 when playing poker in there. It's like always bet as much as I can. I'm like, just get this over with quick. I'd lose all like more than I'd win, but
When I got back into GTA Online, me and Nick were playing,
Mm-hmm.
and they have a casino in there now,
Oh yeah.
and you can bet on horse racing, which is by far the best thing to bet on.
Yeah.
Anytime I'm somewhere where you can bet on horses, it's awesome.
Huh.
As much as I hate horse racing, I'd love to go to a horse track.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because it's
Sure.
you're betting on something that, yes, the odds are pretty good. They give you the odds. You have a good idea of what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But it's an animal.
Yeah.
There's a lot. You're betting on something that you
Right.
can't actually
And do
predict.
they understand that they're in a race? Is the other question. You know. So.
Yeah, you have no idea. So I love that. So
Right.
yeah,
Do they know how important this race is to me?
No.
Like, are they going to put their best effort into this? Or are they just gonna be like, oh, it's time to run today? All right, let's run.
And that's
Yeah.
the sad part too, because maybe they don't and they get beat.
Yeah.
You know, the owner's very mad.
Like, it's not important that I come in first. You know, I'm just running with all these other guys. You know.
Yeah. They probably don't even understand the racing.
Right.
I mean, so that's what's crazy because you get to bet on stuff like that. Now it's different for sports because, like you said, they know what's happening,
Right.
and it's a bunch of individuals that all have
Mm-hmm.
who know people. You know, people say they're all trying their best, but you never know.
Yeah.
They could have money riding on if they don't make so many yards this game, because it won't cost the team anything.
Mm-hmm.
Someone could be like, "Hey, I put a 20 grand bet on you that you only run 15 yards this game, so don't go over 15."
Right.
And there'd be no way for any. It's like insider trading. We know
Yeah.
it's happening all day,
Yeah.
every day,
Yep.
and there's nothing you can do about it.
Exactly.
It just doesn't exist.
Right.
Insider trading would be me going like, "Hey, I work for this company. You know, we're talking about merging. You know, with this other company, I'm working on the paperwork. I tell you that. You go and buy stock in it. Boom. That's insider trading.
Exactly.
You can't predict that or ever.
Right.
There's nothing you can do about it. It happens
Right.
every day.
Yeah. What is that?
I think that's my neighbor pulling in their trash can.
Oh, okay.
It's a weird noise though.
Right.
I was.
It kind of sounded like, you know, maybe like some pipes gurgling.
It sounded
or
like the
something
pipe
that.
gurgling, which
Yeah.
is what was freaking out because the laundry room's behind me.
Exactly.
And I was like, this could be bad. This podcast could be done now.
right. we gotta deal with a flood.
This could be a very long night for me.
Oh man, that happened to me once, in an apartment. Had a middle of the night flood. Yeah, and yeah, it's like I noticed a leak in my bathroom, and I called the leasing office, and they're like, well, we'll get somebody out there to take a look at it tomorrow. And I'm like, okay, go to bed. Went to bed, and then like middle of the night, I hear just this water just.
Oh, like a steady flow.
Yeah, and I'm like a lot of water, and I'm like, what in the world? So I get up, I run over to my bathroom. Before I get there, I'm sloshing in water. I'm like, no, and so
It's too late.
yeah, flip the light on. You know, it's flooded. It's coming out of the room and into my bedroom. Fortunately, it didn't get far enough that it was actually like ruining my stuff.
Oh, that's good.
But it's still coming out, and I'm like, in the shutoff valve was stuck. Like I
You couldn't
not
even shut it off.
I couldn't shut it off. I'm like, what in the world? Like this thing is so stuck that I can't turn it off. And so I call, the emergency line, and I'm like, hey, this water's going off. I can't stop it. I get towels out, and I'm, sopping up as much as I can into the tub, and got another towel wrapped around the leak, and yeah, it's like
That's horrible.
so. Guy comes out there and
In the middle of the night, you showed up?
yeah, and he's tired. Obviously, I called him in the middle of the night, but he manages to, he's got the tools to get the valve turned off.
Yeah.
And he's like, and that's basically all he did. He just turned the valve off. He's like,
Oh, so
I'll be
we'll-
back in the morning.
We'll deal with this
Yeah,
another
and I'm
time.
like, okay. So he comes back in the morning with the fans, and they suck up all the water.
That's
but,
nuts.
Yeah.
I didn't have the one bad thing. I guess I have a flooding story, but I'll tell you my apartment story first. It's the middle of the night. I'm sleeping, and all of a sudden I hear something like, I can't reach it, but it was like a like someone was coming through the door. And I was like, this is weird. Like I hadn't given Joy a key yet, so like whoever's coming in, this is not good. And it's the middle of the night.
Yeah.
So I reach over my nightstand, I pick up my firearm. I'm like, still just listening now.
Mm-hmm.
And then I hear like a thunk. I was like it sounded like the door pushed open.
Mm-hmm.
So I rack one and I start getting up against the wall because my bedroom door is closed. And I'm like, whatever's happening is not good. Like now someone is in the room, is like in my living room, and I was like, it's the middle of the night. This isn't like the manager coming by. So I wait. Everything's just quiet for a while, and I don't hear anything. And I'm like, okay, maybe it was someone drunk trying to get in. They got in, realized they were in the wrong room or something, and left. So I open the bedroom door. Nothing. Front door's closed. Everything's fine. Still locked. I'm like, what? So I text Joy. I'm like, hey, there's something weird's happening over. Of course, she's sleeping. There's no one I can talk to. So I get back in bed, and I'm on high
Did you
alert
wake
now.
her up? Like, did you actually answer?
No. She
I was gonna
sleeping.
say, I'm like,
No, nothing.
wow. Okay.
So now I'm just alone.
Huh.
So I close my bedroom door and I lock it this time because I'm still worried. But
Right.
I saw no signs of anyone trying to get in. So I lay back down and I hear it again, like, and I'm like, what is going on? So this time I quickly just, open my bedroom door, walk out, look through the peephole, nothing. And I start hearing it and it's coming from behind me. I'm like, my bathroom. So I go into the bathroom. It's in the wall.
Oh.
This noise is in the wall.
Huh.
And I was like, what is going on? Now my cat's up.
Uh-huh.
And he's looking at the wall. I'm like, oh, it's animals in here. And you can hear him going and like chirping. They were digging through something and thumping into pipes or whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. But it was a terrifying noise because it just echoed through the silence of someone
It
trying
does.
to get in.
Yep. So yeah, there was when I was at my dad's house, there's like some sort of mouse or something like that right in the corner of my room, like in the ceiling, and it would chew on the wood up there.
Oh, and you could hear
And
it
it's
chewing.
so loud.
I know,
I'm
it's
like,
ridiculous
what?
for how small it is.
Right? Yeah, because it travels through through the wall, and my head's right next to the wall, and I can hear it, and it's like,
Yeah, that's how this was.
I swear I'm gonna go up there and get that thing because
we heard those noises.
Yeah.
It was a bat.
Yeah,
But my flooding story actually takes place at your dad's house.
yeah,
Yeah, so it was, I think, probably the first time I had to watch Kylie by myself. Not a big deal. I mean, kids are, even if she was like 3, they know what they're doing.
mm-hmm.
But I'm feeding her, and it's a Saturday, no one's there, it's just me. I smell something really bad, and I'm like, Kylie, do you need to use the bathroom? And she's like, no. And I was like, did you already use the bathroom? She was like, no. I'm like, are you sure? She's like, maybe. I'm like, okay, well, we need to take care of that. And she's like, well, let's just wait for mom to get home. I'm like, we're absolutely not waiting for that. It's like 3 hours away.
Uh-huh.
That's not good.
Uh-huh.
So I'm at your dad's. I have no idea what to do at this point. I'm like, there's no one here to help. So I'm like, all right, let's just get you in the bathroom. And we're just going to take everything off you because that's the easiest way. It's the easiest way. So
Yep.
it's in the jacuzzi. I'm just trying to like rinse her down.
Uh-huh. Yep.
And there's baby wipes there. And so I'm just using baby wipes. And I throw them into the toilet thinking they're like,
Oh, no.
I'm thinking they're like flushable wipes.
Uh-huh.
Right. I've used.
Even if they are, that toilet is not.
Yes. So I've
Can't
used
handle
flushable
that, yeah.
wipes.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that's it. So I don't think anything of it.
Uh-huh.
Flush it. I don't notice anything's wrong. So get her cleaned up. I tell Joy, she talks to her boss and she's coming home right away because this happened and she's probably embarrassed. I don't know, but she
Yeah.
wants to come home right away.
Yeah.
Then I go to, I don't know if I went to use the bathroom later or something, and I realize it's clogged
Uh-huh.
and I can't unclog it. So I'm like, this isn't good. So I go to shut off the shutoff valve on the toilet so I can work on it, and the shutoff valve's totally like bind it up.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to break the shutoff valve. So I just leave it exactly how it is. I call your dad. I'm like, hey, I gotta go home, get ready. I was going to a movie or something with Nick. We're gonna go do something far away. And he's like, okay, don't worry about it when I get home. I'll make sure I don't break it. I'll shut it off and I'll fix it. I'm like, okay, again, sorry. So I'm about to leave to go meet Nick. I'm driving and I get a call from Joy. And she's like, hey, so my dad was trying to fix and he couldn't get the shutoff valve off. So he went downstairs to the main to use the main shutoff and he broke the shutoff off. And so the basement's flooding.
Oh, God.
And I was like, what?
Ugh.
And so I called Nick right away and I was like, I got to cancel. Like, this is my fault completely. And now the basement's flooded. So I go over to your dad's and it's flooding out the main. He can't shut off the main because there's no way to shut off the main because he just broke the main valve.
Right.
So I had to help him out there, and I forget how we got it to shut off somewhat, and he's just cutting pipes. We're just like anything to to get it to stop. And I remember having to go to Home Depot with him to get parts, which is like the whole Ron Swanson thing. We walk in and we're looking. He's looking. The guy's like, "Can I help you?" He's like, "I know what I'm looking for. Don't worry about it.
Don't bother me. I'm on a mission.
And he was. And we did find it. And the part he wanted for copper was like an electrical instead of plumbing. And I remember him looking. He's like, "This is what we want. Why would we have someone have this in electrical? This should be in plumbing." You know, your typical dad knows better. And he's like, this shouldn't be here. But we got it fixed. I just felt so. It was a long night. I just felt bad. One clogged toilet
Yeah,
just went.
I know. Yeah, stuff
We didn't
like
want to
that
break the
just-
toilet shut off and ended up breaking the main, which is
Right.
equally. It's probably worse. It's much worse.
Huh? Yeah, yeah.
I think what he had to do is go shut off the pump to the well
Hmm.
because he's well water there. So
Right.
that was the only way to stop water coming in.
Hmm.
But that also brings up more problems because
Right.
now you're shutting off all water flow completely.
Yeah.
So that was my flooding story. It was not fun. All because I put some quote unquote flushable or non-flushable wipes in.
Right.
I think my babysitting privileges were revoked for a little bit after that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's one of those things that, you know, doesn't matter, you know, whether you are prepared or not, kids will mess up your plans there. But like she did that to me once, like, you know, had an explosive diaper that
Oh,
just
she
went
did?
all the way up her back. Yeah.
Yeah, this is post diapers. So
Right.
There was no
Exactly.
There's no stopping it, which is why I
Yeah.
was like, take everything off.
Right? I'm like, seriously? It's
It's not fun.
right.
You came back for Texas for that, Jeremiah.
Yeah. Right?
Came back for
To
Texas.
deal
for
with explosive diapers. Yep.
that. Wasn't my worst babysitting. Once we already lived in this house, you've seen Kylie's hair's way too long. I mean, it's like a hippie rat nest. It's
Well,
So-
it wouldn't be bad, but she hates having it brushed. So
It should just be
You know?
shorter. I mean, a lot of that's young hair that's never been cut, so it's way more frail and it's been brushed and washed a million times. You have to cut. If it's long, you know you had long hair. You got to
Yeah.
keep cutting it.
sure.
But she kept talking that she wanted to cut some of her hair off, and I was like, I like talking her into it. I'm like, we can just do it right now. Just take a little bit off. It's not a big deal. And I talk her into it, and apparently it's a big no-no to cut a child's hair because we did it.
Uh
Not a lot.
huh.
And we were proud when Joy got home to show her. I did not get through. If we had a camera, it's watch people die inside. I died inside very quickly. I'm like
Right.
very happy. I'm like, look, I got her to do it. You've been
Yeah.
trying to get her to do it. And Joy's like, what? You did what? I was like, well,
Cut her hair off.
now I've screwed up.
Right.
So
I don't think I ever did that. I never cut my hair. I don't think. I have cut my own hair, but I didn't do it as a child.
I didn't do it as a child.
My you know, my siblings did. Like I think, you know.
Did they get in trouble for it? Because you see that in movies all the time or online.
Right.
If I have a child that cuts their hair, I was like, it's hair. Right?
Sure.
You just explain what happened. I don't see it. The child's not an extension of me. It's not like you're cutting my own hair.
Yeah,
You
I
cut
think
your
I
hair.
think Jordan cut his bangs off like something like that. So that ended up in a buzz cut. So
Yeah, that's what's
but-
nice. Well, that's what's nice about being a guy. But even
Yeah.
a girl, you can go pretty short.
right.
I think that's less of a deal now. People don't care as much. Like if you have to cut a kid's hair because they messed it up,
Right.
not a big deal.
Yep.
But even when I called my dad to tell him, we were talking, and I was like, yeah, I don't know, I'm in the doghouse right now a little bit. And he's like, what'd you do? I'm like, well, Joy wasn't here, so I cut Kylie's hair. He goes, why did you do that, son? Why did you should have called me first? I
Could
was
have
like-
told you.
I was like,
Coulda
I didn't think it
spared
was a
you.
big deal. And he's like, it's not, but it is to them.
Yeah.
So you can't do that.
Sure.
And I was like, my bad. He's
Yeah.
like, yeah, you might be. It's like, you better get a comfy
Right.
pillow for the couch. It's like, yeah, maybe.
Yep. Yep. So when Jared was a baby, my dad didn't want to cut his hair, you know, because he was even more blonde than Kylie is. Like he was like super blonde and had long hair, and for the longest time he didn't have his hair cut. So
Really?
yeah,
Her hair's going to get dark.
So Jordan kind of had a little longer hair. Like he was also blonde.
I was blonde too. I
but-
was blonder than Kylie. I was straight
Mhm.
white blonde. So was my sister.
Yeah. She'll definitely her hair will darken up. Yeah.
That's gonna be my favorite
So-
because there's people that don't want it. They want it to stay blonde.
Mm.
Other family members. And
Sure.
I'm like, yes, this is gonna be the greatest thing ever.
But I mean, like that's the thing. It's like apart from, like Joy and Josh and myself, like all of them had lighter hair, as kids. So.
well, you just have to look at the family. It's very improbable
Mm-hmm.
for blonde to come out of any of your family, especially for
Yeah.
Kylie, looking up at everyone. There's just no blonde's gonna come out of that.
Right.
If it did, it'd be very weird.
Right.
We might have to call the mailman.
But I mean, like, you know,
But I
that's-
can't. Jared's
with-
hair is jet black, just like
you know,
yours.
with mom being blonde, like there is like, you know,
Is she
there's a
naturally
genetic,
blonde?
yeah. So there's
Okay.
genetic, you know, history from that, but yeah,
But your Asian descent, I mean, that usually
very
takes
strong.
over. Yeah,
Yes,
it takes
very
over.
strong. Yes, that's why I have dark hair. And
But you guys have straight hair, which is very
yes,
nice. And the hairline. You guys all have good hairline.
I think the thing about hair is like everyone would change it in some way. Like
I wanted
So-
jet black straight hair. I wanted Neo hair. I was Neo for Halloween
Yeah?
for like 2 years. Yeah. I wanted it, just something about black hair. It's like all the cool guys. James Bond was black
yeah.
hair.
My
Neo was
my
black
dad's
hair.
hair was so black that it was blue.
Oh, see, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Because I did blue tips when I dressed up.
Yeah?
Sometimes black hair, blue tips.
I've dyed my hair blue before. Yeah.
All the way blue.
Yes.
I did like blue tips when I used to spike my hair up. It just looked good, dark, and then blue.
Right. Yeah.
Just looks good.
Yep. Yep.
I used like it's called like iced or something.
Something like that. Yeah.
I
yeah.
was straight out of
Right.
like just go to like 2000 meme and like that was it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was it. I had the skinny glasses, man. Yeah. I wore a shark tooth with, you know, the,
Oh yeah.
the
Nice.
shells. Yeah,
Got that
man.
puka necklace. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
I was straight memeing.
I know. I'm sad that those went away because I like that, but they do
did?
look funny now. Like if you try and wear them. So.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they do.
Mm-hmm.
Except for if you're on a beach.
Sure. Yes.
If you're on a beach, you fit right in.
Appropriate. Yep.
It's fine.
You're with the theme. Good job. Yeah.
That's what's nice about the beach.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have long, ratty hair all over and ripped up jean shorts and
Yeah.
no shirt, and
I would give everything up, like everything, to be a beach bum. Like that's the one scenario.
you could do it, Jeremiah.
I could do that. Yes.
Why don't you then? You could just do it.
I don't know. Different life choices, I guess. Different path. But like, you know, literally living in a like no power, a shack on the beach.
Well, one, you can't.
Eating out
They're
of
not going to let you
cans.
do it.
Well, screw them. All right. First of all, but
First stop, screw them.
But yeah, that is frustrating. That I saw a post about something. They're talking about how we have less freedoms now in America than we did in England. We left England for. So as far as like the you know,
I mean,
those
England
lists-
has more rules than they did then too, though.
Sure, yeah, but it's like wow, we become like you
But
know.
look how nice our teeth are
the-
compared to England, Jeremiah.
There's
Sorry to
that.
our England.
I'm not
viewers.
no my argument is not to go back to England. It's just
Yeah, I know.
my argument is like you know things that were absolute deal breakers that they're like we have to get out of here. You know we deal with on a daily basis. It's just part of you know living.
Well, you can't
so.
collect your rainwater in case you didn't know.
That was on the list.
Oh, it
that
was?
was on the list. Yes.
Hey, you're not allowed to do that.
Yep. Fishing, hunting, driving.
Well, in Illinois, you
know,
can't fish
all
with
that stuff.
dynamite. All right, that's just absurd. Why aren't you allowed to do that,
Right.
Jeremiah?
So I mean that's the thing. I think you know I think laws are important, but I think there are too many laws that serve no purpose other than you know to make money for one.
Seatbelts,
So
helmets.
sure, yeah.
So we are past our hour mark. Do you
Oh,
want to start?
are we?
Do, yeah. Do
Okay.
you want to start?
I
a new
wasn't sure.
topic?
I don't know where we were at, but no,
That's right.
we can wrap it up there. Give people something to look forward to because we'll hit some more interesting topics next time.
Just
So-
remember, folks, jet fuel does not melt steel beams.
There you go. Solve that. Don't need
All
to
right,
bring it
you,
up
you
ever
want to
again.
give us a closer? You want to close us out? Go ahead and close us out.
Go ahead and close this out. I guess we can try and get this to be a thing, but you know, with the Zip podcast. So, if anything that we said during this podcast offended you, we suggest you zip it.